Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Flavor of the Week, brought to you by Banditos, fresh, made daily. In Flavor of the Week, Kyle sits down with one of our local priests over 4 different episodes to sample variations of a favorite food or drink while they discuss the ins and outs of life as a priest.
This is Kyle Hyman. I am here in the rectory over at St. Jude's in Fort Wayne with Monsignor Bob Schulte for Flavor of the Week Part 4. This is our last one. Last ice cream, last
great.
Last
Okay.
chance to learn as much as we can from you. We did 2 ice creams. We did a gelato. I think it went from 10 to 9 to 7.
Yeah.
So if this one doesn't really hit home, then maybe as a dessert for our dessert, and you can go back to the salted caramel as a favorite to wash it down. But this was frozen yogurt, which I feel like gets a bad rap because we think of it as being healthier and not as good. But I thought it'd be good to try it and compare it, see how it stacks up.
I like yogurt.
This is a chocolate caramel brownie, frozen yogurt.
Very good.
How's that do?
Very good. Oh yeah.
It's definitely a different texture. Yeah,
It's good. I like it.
you put enough flavors in it though. Yeah.
I've never been against yogurt. Frozen yogurt's fine, or regular yogurt.
Well, Monsignor, there's a few things that you mentioned that we didn't have time to get too much into, but one of them was talking about your sabbatical over in the Holy Land.
Right.
Were you over there for the whole 3 months?
Actually, in grade school, the sisters had always talked about Our Lady of Lourdes in southern France, and so I really wanted to go to Lourdes. And so I started out by flying over to London, and then I flew down to Lourdes, had a great visit there. Then I went up to Ireland, and there was a priest that had been with me in the parish at St. Elizabeth and Seton for a summer, was from Ireland. It took me around Ireland, so I spent about 6 days there. Then I went to Rome, never been to Rome.
Okay.
So I went to Rome for 8 days. And then I ended up in Athens and joined the group. There was about 50 of us that were priests, brothers, sisters, and a few lay people that were on this sabbatical program offered from Catholic Theological Union in Chicago.
Okay.
And so they were from all over. They were from Japan, Australia, Ireland, United States, Guatemala, maybe. Anyway,
Wow.
So they had a real mixture of people. And it was really great. But we met in Athens, and we ended up going to Turkey. Then we got to Jerusalem. And we actually lived outside Jerusalem with the Camboni sisters in their convent there. They have a guest house in their convent. We lived there, and right outside, right up the hill from Lazarus' tomb.
Okay.
In Azaria. Then from there, we took a lot of bus trips to different parts of Israel. And when we went up to Nazareth and Galilee, we went up there and stayed for 6 days in that area because that's a little bit distance. And so we went down into Egypt, and I got a chance to climb to the top of Mount Sinai and start out, because it's hot, it's in the desert. So we started out around midnight, and you walk up at night because it's a lot cooler. And we watched the sunrise over Mount Sinai, which was really neat.
Yeah.
And then you go down in the morning, and then by the time you get back to the bottom, it's about 9 a.m. and it's really starting to get hot. So you kind of avoid the heat of the day. So it was a neat experience. A lot of experiences like that are kind of once in a lifetime experience. Being at a lot of the sites of St. Peter and Jesus, and so it was beautiful.
So what was the highlight?
The highlight
Of all of that,
I think
Lourdes and Rome and Holy Land,
it's
Greece.
hard to, I'd say
It's like the Catholic bucket list right there. Of all these places.
Well, the very heart is the church, on the site of Jesus' crucifixion and the tomb, and I think that's it's a Crusader era church, but it's a beautiful experience. I would go back there several times in the city of Jerusalem, and it was a great place of prayer. Just being able to go in the tomb and spend a few moments in there. It just is a very moving experience to be there. This is the place where Mount Calvary was and where Jesus was buried. And this is kind of the center of where it all kind of culminates in the whole meaning of our faith. That was just very meaningful. That to me was more impressive than Nazareth or Bethlehem or any of the other sites,
Yeah. Would you want to go back? Or you good now?
I never have gone back. and probably the only reason is kind of a selfish reason. I'm not real comfortable in airline seats.
Okay.
I'm being 6'2", and as big as I am, it's hard to fit in those airline seats, and it's really uncomfortable for a 10-hour, 12-hour flight, And when I flew back from there, I was with a lady that was coughing and hacking the whole time, and drinking alcoholic beverages pretty regularly. And I was just kind of like, oh my gosh! I said I got out of there without getting sick. I was in that plane for like 10 or 11 hours.
Yeah,
sitting there. And I have long legs, and I have to always be on the aisle, and my legs are out in the aisle, and people are walking down. It's kind of like, it's just not a real comfortable experience. So that's kind of the only reason I haven't gone.
Yeah. So here we are in your rectory at St. Jude's. You've been here for not too long.
About a year and 4 months.
Okay.
So thereabouts. Yeah, it's been great. It's a really neat experience. I've known about St. Jude's for years. And when I was even a seminarian, I think Father Bill Schooler who was a year ahead of me, did his diaconate here. And I think Father Bill Coomer, a classmate of mine, was here as well. So, I knew about the parish and everything, but I knew about it just kind of from a distance and didn't really know the intimate details of it. And so it was good to get here. I was kind of surprised when the bishop asked me to come here. This was not what I was kind of thinking about, but it's great being here, especially with having over 400 kids in the school. And Father David and I, who's my associate here, we try and get into the classroom once a month. We divide it up. One of us goes into half of them. The other one goes in the other half. And that's really a good, neat experience to be with the kids and kind of listen to their questions and their thoughts and kind of bounce things around with them and get them thinking about it. Every Friday we have an all-school mass, and that they're answering questions, and it's kind of neat to see them involved, and get involved in all that. And it's just a fun experience. I just enjoy being with the kids and being in this environment.
Sure.
And we got a lot of people here that have been in this parish for their whole life, for many, many years of their life.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We did the study. I kept hearing about people who actually don't live. The boundaries of this parish are basically 46805 zip code. Uh-huh. And so I kept seeing people they live far away. They're out in the suburbs. They belong here, and they've been here all their life, or been here for years and years. So I said, how many of our parishioners live outside the 46805 zip code? Well, it turns out 60% of our parishioners, over half of our parishioners, don't even live in the parish boundaries of St. Jude's. It's funny.
Did they at one time?
Many of them did. Many of them did. And they moved out, and they just continued to do it. And they said,
"Well, parish. This is their home."
And people say, "Well, it's just got a feel for it." For me, I really feel comfortable here, and I feel the people are very friendly, and they just feel it's a warm environment,
And a school probably keeps things youthful and energetic as well.
I think it does. It does. Yeah, the kids are always fun, and always coming up with new stuff and everything.
And it's one of the few perpetual adoration chapels in the diocese.
Yes, yeah. That's thanks to Ed Dom and the Deerheimer family. And they back in the early 80s, that was something that they wanted to get started here, and they looked around, and the chapel, the sisters were in the convent at that time, and they had a chapel there. And they were, the number of sisters had dwindled down a little bit, and they said, well, this chapel could be used, for that. And so it's a perfect thing. It was kind of on the end of the convent, and they converted that into the Perpetual Adoration Chapel. And it's a very unique ministry here in Fort Wayne, and especially on the north end of town here. It's very beautiful. It's 24/7. And the only time it's really closed is really during the Triduum, Holy Thursday night, until Easter Sunday morning. But otherwise, it's open all the time, and there are people there, people of all ages. You think it's just all old people. No, it's not really. There's a lot of young people there. There's college-age students in there. There's kids go in there sometimes, younger kids. And it's really a beautiful experience. And we have people, when I got here, they kind of wanted put together a manual for helping people to understand what to do and what perpetual adoration is. And so we put together a manual that had been started under Father Jake, who was my predecessor here. He'd put something together. He kind of completed it and put that in there. And it's got several ideas for people how to spend an hour with the Lord and how you can break that down into smaller segments, like 20 minutes or 15-minute segments or something like that, and kind of make it a part of your prayer. And I think it really helps people to learn how to pray and learn how to listen in prayer, not just so much asking or thanking or proclaiming, but just quietly listening to the Lord. What is the Lord? What are you trying to tell me, Lord? And how can give me these inspirations from the Holy Spirit? Yeah. And I think it deepens people's appreciation of their relationship with the Lord and the Holy Eucharist.
Yeah. Do you think is it hard to get people to do some of the hours, especially like the overnight hours and things like that?
We were having trouble, and thanks to one of my parishioners who said, hey, they have this online program for scheduling and stuff like that, and maybe we got to go to this. And so we ended up switching to an electronic program. Now, that some of the older people don't like, machines, and so you go in now. They used to sign in with a paper and pen. Now they have to punch a screen, and, and punch their name. And some people have trouble. Well, some people were coming in with their gloves on and it wasn't working, on the screen and stuff like that. And sometimes they'd hit it too hard, and, it just kind of getting to know. But really what's happened is, it's amazing. Our number of substitutes has gone up exponentially. There's a bunch of people that sign up to be substitutes. They don't want to commit to 1 hour a week at this particular time. But, if somebody needs a substitute, you put it out there, and I'd say within 2 minutes, somebody takes it.
Wow.
Said, oh yeah, I'm available at 9 o'clock tonight. Yeah, that's not, or 2 nights from now, or whatever, And so it's just amazing how it's changed, and it's involved. I think it's gotten more younger people involved in the chapel and kind of exploring it and that type of thing.
All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun, and I hope you've enjoyed the ice cream as well.
Oh yeah,
and the frozen yogurt. I guess now. Yeah. What do you rate the frozen yogurt here? This brownie and really chocolate.
This is really good.
Yeah.
You have to rate this up there with number 10.
Really? Another 10.
It's good.
All right.
Good.
Well, so the final verdict then would be a 7 for the pistachio gelato, and a 9 for the New York super fudge chunk.
Okay.
And then a tie for first place at 10 out of 10 is the sea salt caramel truffle and the chocolate caramel brownie.
Okay. That's true. That's
All
right.
right.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yogurt.
Thank you. Yogurt. Yeah,
Okay.
it's really good. Yeah.
All right.
Not all yogurt is bad.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you so much, Monsignor. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kyle.